Hello, my name is Sean O'Connor, and I specialize in cybersecurity, warfare, and intelligence. In this presentation, I will discuss the transforming landscape of the modern battlefield in the wake of new and emerging drone warfare technologies. Because this presentation is pre-recorded, please refrain from asking questions until the presentation is completed in its entirety. I find that oftentimes the questions you may have identified now are addressed in later slides. At the end of the presentation, should time allow, a brief Q&A may be possible. Otherwise, you may contact me at the email shown here. Contact information will also be displayed again at the presentation's conclusion.
Here's a brief overview of what to expect from this presentation. To correlate why MILOP drones epitomize technological warfare solutions, we will explore a military concept called C4I-STAR, as defined by the U.S. Department of Defense. The mission-ready objectives drone deployment fulfills, the current operational roles of specific drone technologies and their limitations, advancement opportunities for new roles currently under research and development, and implications for perceived tactical advancements in future deployable arenas. Let's dive right in, beginning with C4I-STAR. As you may have already guessed, C4I-STAR is an acronym. It stands for Command and Control, Communications, Computers, Intelligence, Surveillance, Target Acquisition, and Reconnaissance. Just by looking at these terms, we can already surmise the strong relationship drone technology has with C4I-STAR. So C4I-STAR is a bunch of words, but what is it really? Well, first it is worth noting that the US does not include the T and the A in the acronym. Even though we're specifically discussing US technology, for the purpose of this presentation, I've elected to keep both letters because conceptually, they integrate well with explaining the complete role of drones. However, I am going to refer to it from now on in its shorter form, C4ISR. The term is used in multiple variations by many different organizations to clearly define their operational effectiveness. With high levels of all components included in C4ISR, the operational effectiveness of that military group is maximized, therefore increasing mission success rates and improving the outcomes of best-case scenarios. Maximizing C4ISR includes implementing advanced solution-driven technologies and leveraging highly skilled civilian and military talent to dominate adversaries through the culmination of each unit's superiority. Let's elaborate on C4ISR by breaking down its components. I'll be referencing the Department of Defense Military Dictionary throughout the breakdown and paraphrasing some parts to hopefully mitigate some of the more boring language that is used. I'll start here with C4. This stands for the 4 C words in the acronym. These are command and control, a part of the term whose words are always married, communications, and the last C, computers. Command and control. Well, command is the authority that a commander in the armed force lawfully exercises over subordinates by virtue of rank or assignment. This includes designating objectives and giving authoritative direction necessary to accomplish the mission. Communications. The DoD doesn't singularly define this term, but to put some context on it with my own flair, I'll say that this is the ability to accurately transmit and receive authentic data between intended actors. This can be through many different mediums and includes the assessment and implementation of facilitating technologies. Computers. An integral part of every element, having the right computational capacity to achieve each objective is vital to foundational success. This is inclusive of both the hardware and the software systems that process raw data into information for dissemination and analysis of intelligence. On this slide, we have the ISR component, Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance, or its shorter and more popular term, RECON. Intelligence is the product resulting from collection, processing, integration, evaluation, analysis, and interpretation of available information concerning foreign nations, hostile or potentially hostile forces or elements, or areas of actual potential operations. That's a mouthful, so I'll provide a more simplistic concept. Intelligence produces courses of action based on interpretation of relevant information. Intelligence should be produced in terms of facts, the analysis of those facts, and the interpretation of those facts. Each element of intelligence should be clearly defined to eliminate bias and improve reliability. Surveillance. The DoD does a good job here by stating that surveillance is the systemic observation of aerospace, surface, or subsurface areas, places, persons, or things by visual, oral, electronic, photographic, or other means. Reconnaissance. A mission undertaken to obtain, by visual observation or other detection methods, information about the activities and resources of an enemy or adversary, or to secure data concerning the meteorological, hydrographic, or geographic characteristics of a particular area. Note the key difference here between surveillance. Recon defines the mission undertaken. A recon mission can certainly involve surveillance. The two key concepts are not mutually exclusive, but must require differentiation. In this part of the term, target is pretty unambiguous, so I'll define the entire concept. Target acquisition is the detection, identification, and location of a target in sufficient detail to permit the effective employment of weaponry. Now that we've finished covering the term C4I star, we can directly relate the activities demanded by the concept to the mission objectives that the full spectrum of drone technology fulfills.
Drone technology didn't arrive overnight. A rather long process occurred where potential was identified, technology tried to meet the opportunity, stumbled, and rebooted. It could be argued that one of the earliest employment of drones was in the late 1800s by the Austrians, who attempted to bomb France with balloons loaded with explosives. Later, in the early 1900s, aerial torpedoes were developed to counter large zeppelins. These were basically planes that could be flown remotely from a nearby aircraft and crashed directly into their target. In this era, remote control drones reached heightened capacity with better control technology and even mounted cameras so a remote pilot could view the target. During the Cold War, technology was in demand that could prevent the risk of human life while flying over hostile territory. Additionally, some remote aircraft were flown during Vietnam for particularly dangerous missions where loss of aircraft was almost guaranteed. This technology similarly allowed for the development of long-range cruise missiles that could be fired from naval vessels at great distance and with devastating accuracy. In the modern technological era, drones have reached their epitome of proven effectiveness. As a result, all branches of the military have expressed renewed interest in drone technology to meet the specific demands of their respective missions. As a result, newer, faster, stealthier, and deadlier models have been designed to meet a broad array of these roles. Here we can correlate how the active capabilities of drone technology meet some of the demands of C4ISR in specific missions. A drone has a lengthy flight time capacity due to fuel efficiency by smaller engines, and a reduced pilot fatigue due to physical exertion on the body. Therefore, surveillance possibilities are maximized. Drones can also conduct reconnaissance without any of the inherent risks synonymous with deployment in recon missions. Additionally, drones can be deployed so readily that they may act as a deterrent for malicious activities and also be utilized as counter-recon by creating perceived activities that may coax different and potentially more desirable actions from an enemy. Target acquisition can occur more quickly, with active communication between troops on the ground and drones in the sky. In fact, oftentimes the drone itself has the capacity to acquire its own targets and employ weaponry, since an eye, a quote-unquote eye, is always looking down. Finally, command and control is improved with continuous riskless overwatch that normally required a fully crewed aircraft in the vicinity of a mission.
We've covered just about everything we can about drone technologies in terms of unclassified information. Now I want to briefly explore a possibility of the technology in a particular area of interest in U.S. air warfare dominance. Consider this. The human body can only handle a certain number of Gs, the number for the multiple of force exerted by gravity's acceleration during a high-speed maneuver. So what if, instead of current drone design, the latest warfighter could be flown remotely by a pilot? This opens up a realm of possibilities that significantly impacts air superiority. If the new limitation of air fighter technology rests solely on the structural integrity of a warplane and not on the ability of a pilot to maintain consciousness, tactical maneuverability handled remotely would vastly exceed that of any Maverick pilot physically seated in a cockpit. Additionally, part of the ability to wage war is dependent on the will to wage war. Historically, the loss of human life has been devastating to a nation's warfare ability. If the risks for loss of human life are mitigated, the will to wage war changes drastically. In fact, this shifts war capabilities further towards economic capacity. A nation with the economic capacity to replenish destroyed fighters will have a tactical advantage on an opponent that must not only weigh cost risk, but more importantly, the cost of human life. Perhaps one day, all warfare will be waged remotely with minimal risk of life. This changes the game so profoundly that it demands further research and exploration. Drone technology represents a profound tidal change in warfare that promises to rattle the foundations of not only tactical operations but overarching military strategy. The current climate demands continued funding for research and development that supports a strong U.S. influence for stability and security in international theaters. This concludes the drone warfare presentation. I want to thank everyone who attended and the Department of Defense for its vast array of easily accessible information. If you have any questions or comments, please refer to the contact information displayed on this slide. Thank you.